Hi, I'm Lisa Dolan, Regional VP of Employee Experience at TP.
Rhiannon Cars, Director of Culture and Engagement at Curtains.
Today's panel, which I sat on with two MPs, was absolutely amazing. I think for me, the biggest takeaway was, one, having BSI in the room and being able to say what more can we do to be able to help shape policy and give some guidance to businesses. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes. But I think also as well, just hearing real life examples of how people struggle with perimenopause, menopause. I think it definitely isn't just about policy. It's not just about changing the way businesses work. It's about normalising the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's talking about it. That was one of my biggest takeaways, having sat on the panel, watching you today. It's breaking the stigma, being forgiving in terms of language with ourselves and with those that we're talking to around women's health in the workplace, menstruation, menopause. We know that these are taboo subjects and they can be difficult for people to talk about, whether you're experiencing them yourself or perhaps you're a man and you're a line manager of somebody who's experiencing those symptoms. We don't always know the perfect thing to say, do we?
No.
And we can all mess up every now and again, but I think if we can just be forgiving, that is one of the biggest things that's going to help us to break that stigma.
Absolutely. And I think as well, it's about having the conversation, but actually helping to educate people on the conversation. Because like you said, we've not got the answers, but let's all learn at the same time. Obviously, us as women are going through it in a very different way to our male colleagues, but how do we create that awareness within the business that ripples through, as I know you've mentioned, through the generations as well, and normalising that conversation? I agree, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did a panel on Sunday about women's health in the workplace, and we were joined by Dr. Simon Ofer, who's actually a GP as well, and still is a GP as well as an MP. And he gave some really interesting insights in terms of how we can try to break that stigma, how we can have that conversation, but also the role that organisations have in having the policies, perhaps, underpinning everything. But I suppose more overtly, it's creating and fostering that culture that really feels like people can turn up as themselves, can belong in the workplace, aren't trying to hide any version of themselves and leaving that at the door. And that's our role, isn't it? In our businesses, how do we understand that colleague experience and what we can do in terms of culture, in terms of policy, in terms of workplace environment, in terms of workplace practices, to really just make that experience easier, better, because ultimately we know that that's what affects that bottom line. That's what makes that business more successful, attracts the talent and retains the talent.
Yeah, absolutely. 1,000,000%. Over and out.